Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name's JD. Who's here with me?
It's Jenna still.
It's Jenna sitting in for Michelle once again for us here on We Watch Shudder. Good news, guys. Not good news that we're getting rid of Jenna by any means, but I can't say a lot of details. But I am talking to Michelle. Michelle's got a plan for when she's hoping to be back with the show, and I'm super fucking excited about it. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to put any kind of fucking pressure on her because she's been through a lot of shit lately. But she'll be coming back soon, and I don't know. I'm still kind of twisting Jenna's arm. I'm hoping she kind of becomes a fixture on the show. It was Michelle's idea, even. She's the one who reached out to me, and she was like, hey, what would you think about making Jenna a permanent part of the team? Because then that takes so much pressure off any one of us if we need to not be on the show for a little while, because we don't have to worry about, oh, if I'm not there, there's no show. And I think it's a great idea. You should probably think it through real good, Jenna. Anyway, yeah, Jenna, how are you?
I probably should. You know what? I'm doing all right. It's been a day. We're recording on a Monday night, it's definitely felt like a Monday.
Yeah, it has. Also, sorry we didn't have an episode last week, but life gets lifey sometimes, and frankly, this podcast is a lot of fun, and we love doing it, but it's also still a fucking hobby, and sometimes it's just got to take a back seat. Didn't get a chance to talk about the Ice Tower. Jenna, did you get a chance to watch the Ice Tower?
I'm not gonna lie. I watched half of it, and I was like, oh, I'll finish watching the other half tomorrow because I took an edible, and I couldn't pay attention. And I'm like,
That's
I
fair.
don't know what's going on. I gotta finish this later. And then we decided not to record, so I actually didn't finish watching it.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, it's interesting. The reason I mention it is because, as with a movie we saw a couple weeks ago that we actually, Something is About to Happen, where we were just kind of like, what's going on with, like, why is this on Shudder? That doesn't make any sense. And Ice Tower is very, very horror adjacent, right? It's more, as I would describe it, like a dark fairy tale kind of thing, sort of spooky and weird.
A little psychological, too, going on.
But then that brings us to this movie that we're talking about this week, which is called Find Your Friends. Another one that kind of thrillery, maybe even a little bit more so than Something is About to Happen was. So, it's definitely got that element. But still just very horror adjacent as we get through it. There are a couple of moments, but what did you know anything about this going in, Jenna? I didn't know shit. I'd never even heard of it till it was on the schedule, which is how it usually goes.
No, I didn't hear anything about it. So, and then the description, I did read the description, I think like a couple days before I watched the movie. And then, unfortunately, I like the description that Shudder gives more than some of the events that play out in the movie. So I was like, oh, this is not where I thought this was going, but all right.
Yeah, it looks like we might be diving in. Well, let's just get right to it as long as we're there. Let's hit them with the...
Yeah, let's do just like a real soft trigger at the beginning of this episode.
Oh, yeah.
I think is that a lot of the story kind of heavily revolves around sexual assault and similar themes. There is a scene of that early on in the movie, but it's not very graphic and it's very brief. Not saying that's okay or anything. I'm just letting people know if that's going to stop you from watching the movies. There's no like graphic scenes like that in the movie. So,
but just also very warning. Clear what's happening. Yeah, it's kind of central to the overall plot, and good idea to always make sure people are warned up front about that. I also had go ahead.
I just wanted to say one more thing too, is that please don't take any criticisms that we have of this movie as like criticizing any real life situations
Right.
of assault or anything like that. We'll explain some of the stuff as we go on. So please don't take any of our comedic or light-heartedness of a serious topic.
Yeah, this one is, we actually talked about this for a little while before we started recording, because in a lot of ways, this one feels like kind of a tricky one to talk about in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, just be aware there's some heavy themes and that sort of thing. But so Find Your Friends, it's on Shudder, written and directed by Isabel Pakzad. I'm going to try and guess that's how the pronunciation is, whose claim to fame, highest profile thing prior to this is that she, let's see here, as a director, or no, as an actress, excuse me, she appeared in Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn as Shallow Friend number 2. This is her writer and director debut as a feature. It looks like one short previously called Don't Worry, It's Gonna Be Okay. And then hitting us with Find Your Friends. This is the descripty script from the Shudder website. A desert girls' trip turns deadly when hostile locals clash with buried trauma. Find Your Friends. 1 hour, 32 minutes, 2025. TVMA for language, sex, and violence. Jenna.
You said that the director played Shallow Friend number 2, so I feel like that role gave her a lot of experience when writing and directing this movie.
Oh, you just dived right in. You still got to let me hit the all important format line, which is Jenna. Hit us with your spoiler-free thoughts.
Yeah, that's my spoiler-free thoughts. Find your friends, more like find better friends.
Yeah.
Find different friends. Yeah, this is a I don't know. I don't even know if I can start talking about this in a spoiler-free way. I was not a fan.
That's fair. I think a good way to sum it up for both of us is, as I mentioned before we were recording, is this is a definitive not for me kind of movie. I'm not saying this is something that a movie has to do to be good, because whether or not a movie is good in the first place is entirely subjective. All I can tell you is what I want from a movie. And frankly, I am not personally interested in a movie whose entire cast, including to a significant degree the central character who is supposed to be the most empathetic and emotionally connecting character around which all of the horror and thrillery stuff transpires, I didn't like any of them, and my only reason I felt at any point to be concerned about that character is simply the understanding that, like, doesn't matter how good of people they are or whether they're annoying or whether they're not, what happens to them is terrible, right? It's vile, and but it was so hard to have any emotional or deeper connection to this story beyond that, because these people are all just so fucking annoying.
Yeah, these are some of the most insufferable characters in a movie I've seen in a long time. Which,
yeah,
if this movie had gone a different direction, I think could have worked. But because it has such, like, a heavy and serious, like, overall theme, it felt so weird. It just...
You're right about sort of two things going on. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It looks like we got a little bit of a delay.
Oh.
Stupid Discord. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I remember what I was going to say. Anyways, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Then I interrupted after I interrupted. And
I was probably just going to repeat, like, the same thing about, like, these characters are just some of the worst people in the world. And, you know, and like, obviously movies and real life are not the same thing. So yeah, horrible things that happen. But I do not care about any of these people. And I feel like as a movie and the direction that this goes, you're supposed to care about these characters, but you don't. It almost feels like the script doesn't care about these characters because we don't even learn their names until like halfway through the movie. They don't even bother to tell you that information. I thought there were 4 friends until like halfway through the
6?
movie. There's 5, but I thought 2 of the girls were the same girl.
Oh shit!
And I feel really
apparently
bad
thought there
about
was
it.
more than there were. So that's how annoyed by them I was. Is I was like, oh, there certainly were 6 of them. I wasn't
multiplying.
5 drunk party girls annoyed. I was definitely 6 drunk party girls annoyed.
Yeah, you felt like they were multiplying, and I just made 2 of them into one awful person because they were both truly awful that looked similar. And I was like, wait, isn't that the friend? Oh, that's it. Oh, that's a different girl. Ooh. Whoops.
Well, and as I said, like, to be like, we were talking again before we started recording, and I can even see where your intention might have been that, you know, the point is they're not supposed to be likable because this stuff that happens to them is horrible, and you should be concerned, or you should be horrified by it. But it's, I guess the way I would almost describe it is 2 things. First of all, if that's what you're trying to do, great, but that's just not something that I enjoy personally. So it's like the metaphor I made is, I don't care how great you make your ratatouille. I don't like ratatouille, so it's not going to be for me. And so if that's what they were trying to do, you know, kudos to you. I mean, you fucking succeeded because they are annoying as fuck. But your horror then, for at least me, becomes academic in a way. It's like the difference between when you hear a report on the news that somebody was assaulted that you don't know versus when you get a phone call from your family or a friend telling you that somebody you know personally was assaulted, right? It's a reaction of, oh, that's terrible, but there's no emotional deep investment at all.
Yeah. 1 second. My dog needs to go out.
Oh, go deal with your puppy, and we'll come back.
He wouldn't go out when it was raining too hard because he's very fragile and sensitive.
Oh, that's okay. Riley's the same. So anyway, yeah, I think we kind of summed up our spoiler-free thoughts on this movie. There's part of me that's almost like, do we even need to go into spoilers at that point? But we have a format to stick to, goddammit. So if you don't want detailed spoilers on the movie and you want to go see if you agree with us that they are perhaps some of the most annoying characters ever put to film, then go see for yourself. But now, oh boy, guys, I'm excited because Jenna said to me before we started recording, she said, hey, can I do the plot summary thing this time? And I said, yeah, of course you can, because I personally feel like I suck at it, because I ramble much longer than Michelle, and I'm not nearly as entertaining as she is. So why don't you take a stab at telling everybody what happens and find your friends?
Yeah, I mean, I guess most of the reason why I volunteered is because I did take some notes on, like, the plot to this movie and some other things, and I don't want those to go to waste.
You know, that's probably why Michelle does it so much better than I do. I'd wager she takes notes, too.
I have, like, a couple bullet points, and then I'll go into a little bit on that. But it's still going to be pretty rambly, which is how I tell stories in real life anyways, so. All right. Find your friends. It starts. Bunch of people partying on a yacht. Picture it. Drugs, booze, sex, sinning. All of that. You know, all that good stuff. A couple of guys are watching a group of girls dance. One comes over and starts flirting with one of the girls, Amber, who's kind of the main character. The other girls are like, ooh, do it, girl. That dick is probably fire. Okay, the way these girls talk to each other is kind of insane. That's the most gentle way I could put it, because that whole conversation they have is a super graphic, like, Jesus. Amber's ex shows up with his new girl, and you can tell this is going to be a problem. So she starts dancing with that guy who was flirting with her, and they start making out, and because she wants to make her ex jealous because he's kind of looking at her, or she wants to prove she's over him or something like that. We've all been there. Everyone else in the room, including her friends, sees them making out, so they decide to give them some privacy. That guy tries to go further, and she tells him no, but he is a fucking loser, so he ignores her, telling him to stop until she has to get very physical back, and then he's immediately hostile, and he's like, well, you're a bitch anyways, because, that's how sexual assaulters usually react. She goes and finds her friends. She goes, find your friends. Find her friends. And is like, where did you guys go? And they're like, well, you were making out, like, hooking up with that guy. We weren't going to stay there. She's like, you just left me there. But she doesn't tell them what happened. So then everybody on the boat just continues to party and get super fucked up on drugs and alcohol. Amber sees that same guy hitting on a different girl, and they're kind of rude. She grabs a glass punch bowl, smashes it over his head. He is bleeding like crazy. Everyone's just staring at them. She starts hyperventilating. Now, cut to all the girls in a tiny little yacht bathroom. Amber's puking her guts out because she's been, Burning Manning it up on a yacht all day. And then her friends are kind of a mix of like, girl, what the fuck? And, hey girl, let's just get you feeling better. And then one of them's like, hell yeah. So it's a real mix of friends she's got there. Then they're like, you know what? Who cares? Just forget about it anyways. We're going to go party hard in the desert tomorrow. So they all exit the bathroom. Everyone's just staring at them silently. That tension is thick. Then everyone just starts screaming at him to get off the boat. So the girls go to get off the boat. There's yelling matches that ensue between the guys that are on the boat and the girls walking on the dock. And it is some of the worst, like, insults I've ever heard. Like, worst as in, like, cringy, bad, terrible, like, very much like just small dick jokes and just, I don't know, felt weird. Okay, so now cut to the squad. They're driving in the desert because it's probably the next day, because they said they're going hard in the desert tomorrow. They're driving in their Jeep. They're all exchanging some stories about these, like, just god-awful situations where, douchebags have done something to them sexually that was not consensual or discussed ahead of time, and crossing boundaries, a lot of things. But they're, like, talking and joking about these stories and, like, kind of one-upping each other a little bit with them. They ask Amber what her story is, and she's like, well, I don't have one that's funny. And they're like, oh, well, actually ours are really tragic and fucked up. Kind of just implying that telling it in a humorous way makes it maybe feel, less serious to them. Mm-hmm. So they try to get her to tell them about hooking up with that asshole from the boat, and she's like, I just don't want to talk about it. Okay, now they're at their desert party home, their little Airbnb, and they're immediately like, let's frickin' party. And then we cue a party montage of just, like, weird rapid cutscenes of EDM, drinking, twerking, swimming, limbo, them just telling each other that they'll be best friends forever, even after college, in the most vocal fry voices you've ever heard in your life. Then an old guy neighbor comes over, starts screaming at them to turn the music down because he actually lives there, unlike the privileged youth that just come to the desert to party, and then he goes away. Then they go to their friend's desert warehouse party, and they all take some Molly. Some rapid cutscenes of just a party. The blonde friend, Lola, is like, hey, Amber, come over here. Let's do some drugs with these random guys. And then those guys immediately get super creepy. And Amber is like, nope, I'm out of here. And goes back to her friends that are dancing. The creepy guys follow her over and they continue their creepiness. The girls are like, no, thank you. The guys won't take a hint. Then they get super aggressive. Then they get escorted out of the party. So then they go to a different warehouse in the desert to party. I don't know. And then Amber starts chatting up the DJ, and I don't know. They have a story about, he talks about he's been sober for 10 years because he used to go too hard and he knew he'd end up dead. And I don't know. I guess it's just trying to tell her like to maybe not party so much, because up to this point too, we kind of get the impression that she's just doing it because her friends want to do it. She's like a little bit reluctant, but she still does it. So then, because he is kind of so far been the only decent person in this movie, they start kissing. But then she does have a flashback of the guy from the yacht. So she starts screaming no, and for him to get his hands off of her. And she jumps up, and it's a big scene. And he's like, "What? I wasn't even touching you." And everyone is just staring, and our friends are like, "What? We don't know what's going on." But also, we're like having such a good time at the party. We know you're freaking out, but we don't want to go back. So, sorry. She goes outside because she's going to go back to their rental, and those creeps from the first party that were harassing them, they drive up in their truck. They're harassing her, so she runs back inside. She finds her horrible red-haired friend, Lavinia, played by Bella Thorne, and just the absolute worst of this friend group. She's in bed with the DJ guy, so Amber starts yelling about being followed. Lavinia is confused and like, you're losing it. Like, you're ruining the vibes of this party. God, Amber. And the DJ's like, you guys seem like a lot of drama. Please get out of my party. So they decide to go. They're all back in the Jeep. They're driving. The truck that those creeps were in pulls up behind them, starts tailgating them super close. Amber starts freaking out. She calls 911. She's trying to explain what happened. They're going to send an officer to the rental. The other girls think she's just being paranoid. They're super annoyed with her. So now we cut back to the rental. Amber's trying to explain how these guys were being threatening and creepy earlier. The officers are also the absolute worst, completely discredit everything she says so rudely. Then her friends kind of pile on too, and they're like, oh my gosh, officer, so sorry. We don't know what she's talking about, so just never mind. Goodbye. Then they all start yelling at each other in the house. They're all mad at Amber because she's ruining the vibes. And she starts telling them about what happened on the yacht. And she's mad that they left her alone with that guy. And her friends are like, well, you guys were like making out, like we try to give you some privacy. They go back and forth on this kind of, I guess, quote unquote, gray area. I don't know. They're like, wouldn't it be weird if we just like stood there and watched you guys make out? She's like, but you left me, so that resolves nothing. Lavinia says she didn't even want Amber to come on this trip, so they keep arguing. Lola, the blonde friend, that's my note on her because that's her whole personality as blonde party friend. She's like, you guys suck. I'm going back to that warehouse party. So now we cut to her. She's outside of the warehouse party, and the truck with those creepy guys pulls up. They start chasing her. They tackle her, and they brutally punch her in the face until she is unconscious, possibly dead. Yeah. So now we hard cut to the next morning. Amber wakes up, and one of the other girls, Maddie, that was the girl that I got confused with the other friend and thought they were the same person. She's awake. Amber says she's sick of just partying every day. wants a life with meaning, and basically says the rest of the girls just use partying to escape their meaningless lives every day. The old crabby neighbor guy comes back, starts screaming again about the music, calls them a bunch of privileged bitches, and vaguely threatens them. Amber is like pretty rattled by this, but the other girls are like, all right, okay, boomer. And the girls go to the desert to hike and do some shrooms. Amber has crazy hallucination dreams and thinks that the loser from the yacht and the DJ are in the desert stalking her, and all her friends are like laughing in her face and mocking her. She wakes up, finds the other girls. They say Maddie went for a walk. They're using the Find My Friend app to see where she is, but it says she stopped sharing her location. But then they see that their other friend, Lola, the blonde friend, who went back to the party the night before, she hasn't come back yet. Nobody has tried to contact her, and they haven't heard from her since. That friend says her location is right where they are. So they try calling her phone, and one of those creeps comes out of nowhere with it and is like looking for this with Lola's phone. So the girls freak out. They run back to the Jeep. They make it just in time. They call 911. They're trying to explain to this operator, like, that they just realized one or maybe two of their friends are missing. And they're trying to talk about the guys having their friend's phone. The operator is not, like, understanding what they're trying to say. Clearly misinterprets the severity of the situation. And so they just hang up. The guys speed up next to them in their truck. One of the girls grabs her pepper spray, maces him right in his dumb fucking face. He immediately drives off the road, flips his truck. The girls are relieved, but they decide to go back. They're like, no, we have to go back. We have to see what we can find out about our missing friends. So they take one of the guys back to their rental and like tie him to a pool table. So we're just going to call that guy Creep 1 from here. So, yeah, he's tied to the pool table. Amber starts interrogating him like she's a mob boss because he's like, I don't know what happened to your friend. And then she hits him in the head with a pool ball to like try and get him to talk. Lavinia and Zosha, the other friend that I thought was Maddie earlier in the movie, she is the least worst friend of the group, which is not saying a whole lot. They're like a little freaked out now, and they're like, maybe this wasn't the best plan. Amber, you're acting kind of crazy. Zosha's cell phone starts ringing, and it's Maddie, who was missing, right? But then when she answers it, it's just like some gross, creepy breathing in it, because the other guy, Creep 2, that they left at the crash, has Maddie's phone.
Like that?
Yeah. He's outside
Ew.
with Maddie.
Sorry. Ew.
I did think about doing that, and I was like, no one. We don't need that.
Ew. Terrible decision.
Oh well. Yeah. So Creep 2 is outside. He's got Maddie's phone and a gun. He shoots the patio door, shatters glass everywhere. So now Creep 2's got his gun. He's trying to like corral the girls into the corner so he can untie his friend. And he's like, oh, you girls deserved it. Why'd you have to push us so far? That's why we did this. It's the dumbest explanation ever. Then that crotchety old man-namer comes in with a shotgun, and you're like, oh, he's been awful, but like, he's gonna be the one to save them? Okay, all right, that I guess makes sense, because otherwise, why else would he even be in this movie? But no, Creep 2 just like immediately shoots him. But as the old man's going down, he does get a shot off, shoots Creep 2, but then Creep 2 just like smashes his face in with the pool ball, so there's no saving going on there. Then Creep 2 just starts choking Amber. One of the other girls grabs his gun that he dropped and just like shoots him in the head, execution style. Everything's escalating very quickly. Creep 1, still tied to the pool table. He's like, you're never gonna find your friends, and calls them just every worst possible name that he could think of. But like the girls are full like CIA torture until confession plan now. They're just all in. They're off the rails now. Zosha cuts off a finger with a pair of scissors, and they're like, you ready to talk yet? And he's like, no, never. So then one of the other girls carves into his face with the scissors. He's still not ready to talk. So Amber gets up on the pool table, kind of straddles him, unzips his pants enough to get to his magic mushroom drugs.
Oh, you didn't.
I don't know.
She cut his dick off with the scissors is what she's trying to say. She cut the head of his dick off.
She's like, if you don't talk, I'm gonna cut it off. And he's like, yeah, we did take your friends and we killed them. We're teaching you a lesson because everyone's always coming to our desert town and partying, and you girls were asking for it. And then obviously Amber just starts cutting away with the scissors anyway. And they showed a lot more of that scene than I expected. That was startling. Obviously Creep 2 screaming, writhing in pain. And then Amber just stabs him in the chest with the scissors. He's dead now. Then we just hard cut to the girls like driving down a dark desert highway in their Jeep.
Cool wind in their hair.
Cool wind in their hair.
Warm smell of colitas rising up in the air.
And they're just like not saying anything. And then they just start screaming and laughing and crying a little bit. And that's the end of the movie.
Find your friends. That, yeah. A couple of things. These people are awful. Look, here's the thing. Again, drunk, party, drugs, people, this, whatever. Do you, homie. But there are few kinds of people on Earth that I am less interested in socializing with than this kind of people. These are essentially like girl chads. Like that's what these are. They're girl chads. So pussy, pussy, pussy. Like the song in the credits. Like I don't know if you followed the credits all the way to the end. There's this song that says pussy like 150 times in like 3 minutes. I don't fucking know. I didn't count them.
Yeah, that's like the whole chorus of that song. Pussy, apparently, pussy, I did listen to that only because I was like, "Is this a real song? What is this?"
Again, it's not that like. I mean, yeah, if I can talk about your pussy all you want, I don't give a fuck. I just like. Jesus, it just at some point it's like, could we maybe choose maybe just use a different euphemism, you know, just like swap it up. I don't know, but it's just not the kind of social life I lead, and it is a kind of social life that I consciously avoid. Let me tell you something. Are you familiar with the old Broadway here in Fargo?
Yes.
Okay. So the old Broadway is a sort of two-side thing for those of you who don't know Fargo. One part of it is a neat little sports bar, and they got a pretty decent kitchen for as the sports bar goes. And then there's this huge other side of the place that basically functions as a nightclub, especially on the weekends, because it's a college town and it's right in the middle of downtown. I had never gone because all you had to do is tell me it basically functions like a nightclub. And I was like, yeah, that's just not the kind of place that I want to go. But a friend of mine kept like, come on, you got to come hang out. You got to come hang out. We're just all out at the OB. Come hang out with us for a minute. I was like, all right, fine. And so it was like either a Friday or Saturday night. The place is just hopping. It's loud. And I was in the place long enough to walk through the crowd trying to find my friend, found them, told them I'm leaving immediately, and left immediately. I felt my skin crawl just walking into the room in a way that just like, this is not the place for me. And that's what I felt about the people in this movie.
Yeah, I really glossed over how truly, like, kind of awful most of these characters are, and like how they talk to each other. Like they're horrible friends to each other too. Like nobody has anybody's back. Like I don't know. I can't even describe why, because just like the way that they talk to each other and the way that they talk to other people is just like the most atrocious things and that's all they talk the whole time. That's just their whole personality, is that it's not just like, oh, well, she can, she's kind of a bitch when she wants to be. No, that's their personalities at all given times.
It's very literally like everything you hate about gross Chad dudes, right? It's the same sort of fucking like meat market nightclub kind of vibe, and I don't know how else to put it, and it's not my vibe at all.
I think the other thing that is really irritating is that I am like a big music festival
You're party
EDM
girl
show, party girl. Like, I do not mind, like, the big crowds like that, and, like, even when they were in the club and it was, like, packed and stuff with all the lights and shit going on, I'm like, yeah, I like that. I'm like, not gonna lie, there was a couple times during this movie where I'm like, oh, I want to be at that rave. I was like, oh, a warehouse rave in Joshua Tree? That sounds so cool. But, and I've talked to, like, a lot of people at all these different festivals and stuff. Nobody is like these people. These people don't exist. That's the problem, is that they don't even seem like real people. Is that, like, just the dialogue in this movie is really what bothers me, I think, the most about these characters, is that just the lines that are written and the line delivery is just bad. Like, sometimes it was so bad, it was, like, kind of, like, embarrassing me a little bit. And a lot of it felt very, like, dated. Like, in a way, I don't know how else to describe it. Like, the insults and some of the, like, awful words that they use towards each other. I'm like, hey, I don't know. We've moved past that. Come on.
So,
and, it's just terrible. But then there were a couple times too where it was like so bad it was funny, like when they are being booed off of the yacht and they're walking on the dock and they're like screaming at each other, and one of the girls yells at the group of guys, she's like, suck my dick, and one of them, the guy just goes, no. And I was like, oh, all right.
I also thought it was like super arch, like you mentioned in the summary, how like everybody's just standing there silent and staring at them as they start to slowly make their way through the crowd. And then just like, oh, fantastic. Somewhere along the line, my microphone started working, and now everything is super fucking loud on the tape. Sorry, guys. I just saw it on my waveform. Let me bring this down.
Oh, it didn't really sound that loud to me, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's just something with Audacity. So sorry that got really loud for some of you there. I'm glad I noticed it. But anyway, yeah, so here's something I need to ask you, because this is actually something I'm genuinely curious about.
Okay.
Because the thing is, I am not female, right? Like, So here's my question to you.
Yes.
In my mind, my reaction is, like, is it that big of a faux pas or a problem that her friends left her with this guy alone? Like, is that something you're not ever... Because, like, again, I don't know because there, I mean, to a certain extent in my head, I'm like, I mean, yeah, I mean, you did start making out with the guy, and you had mentioned that you might be into it. So, like, what were we supposed to do? Just stand there
and just watch you guys make out?
Say if that was you, would you want your, like, explain to me what the ethics, or not the ethics, but the, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like girl code?
The etiquette. Yeah, the etiquette of that. Not ethics, the etiquette.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess personally, if there's this guy that I know that my friend is like kind of into, because we've already talked about that at this party, and then they're hanging out and dancing together, and then they're, you know, both making out with each other on the couch, and like we're in the same room. I don't think it's unreasonable to be like, oh, okay, we're just gonna like give you guys some privacy, have fun, girl. And you know, she was not showing any signs of distress or, you know,
right,
danger, and they didn't. I guess in my mind, it's not like they left her in, you know, the middle of nowhere and just completely abandoned her with this guy. Like, they were on a yacht, so they're all right there. They're just like in the next room, or just like up the little stairs, you know. So, yeah, I don't know. I could see some people being like, no, you would never leave your friend alone with somebody too. It's kind of, I guess, I don't know. I don't want to say gray area, because I don't know. There's some nuances there, I think, and it's maybe like a little each person
I was just
to
really
their own.
Curious, because my immediate reaction was, like, for me, I was just like, well, yeah, of course they left. What were they going to do? But of course, I exist in a world where I am not under any sort of threat whatsoever in that situation. There's not even like an odds of it, right? Like it's a completely different dynamic for the male presence in that situation. Yeah. So to me it doesn't make sense, but I also have no business judging her because the situation is completely different. So I was curious how you saw that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I wouldn't say that her friends did anything wrong. You know, there wasn't any reason for them to believe that situation would happen, or that, you know, their friend might be in trouble or wasn't in danger. And yeah, they didn't like abandon her somewhere. It was just kind of strange the way that played out. And then she doesn't tell them, which I guess, you know, she doesn't have to, but it just gets
also lest anybody listening be none of this whatsoever to say any sort of like, oh, she should have seen this coming, she should have been prepared for this. If you are picking up any vibe of that whatsoever, you can get fucked. I just want to make that very clear. This isn't like a blame situation. It's a set of fucked up circumstances that went horribly wrong in a number of ways, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I guess that's kind of the way I was.
And the other thing, too, is that, you know, there's situations in this movie, and I think a lot of them are very blunt. A lot of very blunt situations that every woman or woman presenting person has found themselves in a situation like that. And, you know, there's danger there, and there's just a lot of ingrained misogyny there. So I don't know. I don't want to discredit that in any way, because that it is very serious, and like I said, anybody, any woman or woman presenting person has had at least one situation that, you know, they either felt extremely uncomfortable in, or somebody was like trying to be very pushy or something like that. It's just kind of the way that they portrayed those, and like, I guess, acted them out in the movie was just kind of, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, it does deal with some some really complex issues, and
I just don't think that they were depicted or like handled with the care maybe that they deserve. And also, I guess maybe too, it felt a little bit strange because of how blunt it was, and it's just like this in-your-face representation of misogyny and danger, but I don't know who that message is for, because women know that. They know that already. It's a real bummer.
Right.
And personal opinions that just less blunt and subtle is almost scarier, because it can really sneak up on you and you don't know when it's coming. Like the situation on the yacht. You know, she thought she was safe, and then out of nowhere, this guy's like, oh, I'm just going to do whatever I want and completely disregard your autonomy.
Yeah, it was, I had a thought there for a minute and I went completely out the door. That's okay if that's what happened. But a couple of other things that I thought were interesting. So, no, I was just honestly really relieved when we finally got a chance to sit and talk about it, because there's a part of me that felt like I just wasn't connecting with this because I don't have the context. Sure. And so it makes me feel a little less disconnected to hear that you felt that it was kind of clunky as well. I do think immediately, because you mentioned other movies that deal with these. There's a movie called Lucky that came out a few years ago on Shudder. Michelle and I reviewed it, and for the reason you just said, right? For women. It's a story of like, oh yeah, we all know this, right? We've all been through this. And so she didn't, for me at least, and different things are going to work for different people, but that's a movie that for me, kind of, like, I don't know. I saw what it was doing a little bit better, and I was more brought into that movie, again, because they gave me somebody to like. And again, I get that the point is that it shouldn't happen to anyone, even the most unlikable people in the world. I get that. That's why, curiously enough, I don't know if you noticed, but we didn't give this movie skull ratings yet. We'll get to it at some point, but yeah, it just I felt like I had no doorway into this one, and it was kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just because it felt so in your face, and like yeah, that does exist, obviously, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because what I think is scarier is the subtleness, that you don't know where that danger is going to come from sometimes. So it's like you just always have to, sometimes it feels like you always have to assume the worst, which is, you know, not necessarily accurate, but just, you know, it can be kind of scary, because like sometimes you just don't know like when something is going to switch, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, there it is. One thing that I did find interesting and was maybe a little bit better, but like, okay, first of all, when they're driving in the Jeep going to the desert, and they're sharing these like horrific like sex stories of stuff, and just like extremely graphic, which whatever, talk with your friends however you want. It's just like the words that they used, and just like the phrasing of everything. I don't know how to describe it, but I was like, this is such an insane way to talk.
I know how I would describe it and be very comfortable with it, which is I am uncomfortable by that specific like vocabulary type of discussion, and the reason is because for me personally, it feels really gross. You know, and if it doesn't feel gross for you, gangbusters, brother. But for me, it feels really slimy. No matter who's saying it, whether it's male presenting, female presenting, no matter who it is, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just like the way that they were,
Gross.
I don't know. I don't know. I, talk like a sailor with my friends all the time and kind of just in general, but like, just, I don't know. Anyways. Yeah.
I think
they sound just like,
like
some frat boys describing women in like the worst possible way is the only thing I can compare it to, where you're like, wow, you're a disgusting human being. And then I don't know if like the point was to have this group of girls talk like that and be like, oh, it's shocking, or oh, there's some sort I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about it, but I did feel gross. I felt icky. I think I would just feel icky no matter who was saying that.
Yes. Yeah.
The thing that I did find interesting about that scene, though, is it just was like very confrontational. And there are some other scenes in this movie too about like quote unquote normalizing that type of behavior from men, because they each had a story of like, oh, we were like having sex and then he did this awful or gross thing that we didn't talk about beforehand, or like I didn't want, or something like that. And they're kind of just talking and laughing about it a little bit in just this like, boys will be boys kind of attitude. And it's just so like normalized, and then women are just sort of like expected to deal with it, and then there's just like zero repercussion attitude, and like it's almost expected, just tale as old as time.
Sure. And that even like, yeah, I could see that like from, because I also was like, okay, so maybe she doesn't say anything because, first of all, it's a horrifying thing that happened to her, and things are like you're spun and you're not sure even how things are going to happen. But like, I get that randomly what appears to be randomly to everybody else, walking up behind a dude and smashing a punch bowl over the back of his head is a fucking awful thing to do. But these, as we find out, they've all got experiences like this, right? But like the minute, even if she's just freaking out, to me, and this is again why I'm glad you're here, because I feel like I don't know how much of this is sane and how much of it's just because I don't have the perspective. But like the instant she even starts talking, because they also know that they were together before, right? They left while she was making out with this guy. Like the instant she even starts talking about like he was touching me and he wouldn't stop, and I tried to tell him to like, why? Not a single one of them at any moment, like, even remotely takes it seriously.
No, they, like, didn't even react to it, really.
They're, like, the immediate reaction was, oh, we don't know what happened, quit ruining our party.
You're kind of bringing down the vibes.
And I didn't consider what you had just mentioned, which is that, perhaps it is, again, trying to show just the normalization of it to the point where it's become so commonplace that there are perhaps, and I imagine there are some people who have just like horrifyingly come to just be like, yeah, that's just a thing that happens sometimes. But it's, again, if all I'm saying is, and I don't even know if I'm going to be comfortable giving this movie a score, because like, in the most honest way possible, there's just, I didn't like it, but I feel like it probably did exactly what it wanted to do.
I think maybe that's where I'm struggling, is that I'm almost not sure if it knows what it wanted to do, because if the tone of this is very strange, and it has just this like, yeah, obviously there's like the sexual assault, like kind of overtoned, and just like the danger in any space from any man is kind of the overtone of it too, which, I guess there's always a potential for danger, but
yeah, by the way, dear every single dude listening, you have absolutely no right whatsoever to ever be insulted or taken aback if any woman on earth ever, for any reason, says she's just not comfortable being alone with you. Shut the fuck up and let her not be alone with you.
Yeah, or if like a group of girls or one girl or any person, any individual, regardless of presentation, is like,
sure,
no, thank you. Just leave them alone. Yeah. They're trying to be polite because that's what they're taught to do, and you're not. If you don't get the hint, like, that's on you. That's not on them. Like, I'm thinking of a situation recently where I was somewhere where dancing was involved, and I was just like dancing a little bit, and this guy like grabbed my arm and tried to like pull me like further onto the dance floor, and I like kind of like pulled my arm back. I was like, no thanks. And then he like grabbed my arm again, like kind of hard too, and started pulling me, and I like ripped my arm away, and I said no, and he's like, geez, ugh. And I'm like, okay, great. Yeah, that's how you're gonna react. Amazing.
Yeah, like, I mean, fucking real talk, as long as we're here. And interestingly enough, I do want to come back around to the one element of this movie that we haven't even begun to talk about yet, which is that whole part about the crazy dudes in the truck and everything that happens in the second half of this movie. Because
yeah, this movie takes a weird turn, too.
It really does in a lot of... And this is something I've seen before and I've mentioned before. It feels like two completely different movies, right? Like, that just got sort of connected together.
I think maybe that's where I'm struggling too, is like, I don't know what I'm supposed to take away from this movie, because there's two very different like stories kind of happening. I think I would have liked this movie better, and kind of like the description said, girls are going to go party in the desert. These crazy guys are harassing them, and it's like a fight for survival kind of thing. I think I would have liked that story. I think that has more bones, but it's just like the way that everything was kind of put together. It felt very disjointed and just, I don't know.
So before we dive into that part of it, because I do have some thoughts about that I wanted to bring up. No, just in relation to what you were just talking about, and because I guess what I will say is, regardless of how I felt about this film, it definitely gives us an opportunity to talk about some pretty serious stuff. And like that's the thing. I think that's the part that a lot of guys have the most difficulty with, is I think a lot of guys do a lot of things that they genuinely don't understand what the big deal was. And that's the fucking problem, right? Like, that's what we're trying to get across. Like, there was and this was an event that ultimately became one of my big awakenings. Because I've always considered myself kind of a non-threatening guy. And I was at the bar with a friend of mine, and we were getting drunk. And I was just being a goof and saying dumb shit. But at one point, she got up to leave, and my drunk ass, as you mentioned, I reached out and grabbed her by the arm, and I'm like, no, don't leave. And it's like, you never stop to think, like, yeah, in your head, you're like, oh, I'm just being silly and playful, but you're also drunk as fuck, and you don't know what you're doing, and she doesn't know what you're doing. And it's a fucking, I don't know, the amount of, it's like, I don't know, I think people are so caught up in this idea that they're going to be seen as evil that they won't even acknowledge that maybe, no, we're not saying you're all evil. We are saying you've all done shit like this, and we need you to acknowledge it. And no, I don't know. Like, so I feel like the movie does give an opportunity to talk about that sort of thing, right? Because thankfully, a lot of people in my life gave me a lot of grace and opportunity and explanation of like why these like no, you need to understand, like, this is the reality we live with. So while you might think those things are silly and harmless, they're fucking not. No, I don't often get a chance to talk about that, but I feel like it's an important thing to talk about.
Yeah. And part of it too is that, like you said, you know, you consider yourself like just a harmless, goofy guy. But people, you know, people that don't know you,
Right.
they don't know that.
They have no way of knowing. Exactly. Yeah.
And just from you know, previous experiences, or just kind of like just, you know, kind of some natural strength differences too. Sometimes you are like, oh, like suddenly a situation can feel very scary very quickly, even if that's not the intention. And it's, I don't want to say it's fine, because it's not fine, but it is something that I think needs to, it's very nuanced, and it does need to be discussed, because it's something that people just need to know. More people need to know about, and like understand a different perspective on that, and how it can seem threatening and how it can seem scary. And you know, if I react by pulling my arm away, I'm not like, oh, you're the fucking worst, I hate you, I hope you die kind of thing. It's like, no, that's not how we treat, that's not how we treat each other. You know, that's my arm. You don't get to just like grab me and pull as a stranger too. Like, it's different if like a friend or somebody that you are familiar with does it. There's those levels of comfort there.
Dude you just met tonight though?
Yeah. Kind of, I was thinking of another story that I'll be very brief about it, but when I was in, I don't know, probably my mid-20s, I was visiting Fargo because I didn't live here at the time, and with a friend, and I was staying at my sister's place. And my friend and I decided to go out, so we went out. I think we were at, I don't know, Dempsey's or the aquarium. And we started talking to these couple guys that were at the bar, and they were, you know, they seemed pretty cool, so we were just chatting with them. We got a booth. We spent a couple hours just like talking and laughing, very casual conversation. They bought us a couple drinks, and then it was bar close. I'm like, oh, we got to get back to my sister's apartment. That's where we're staying. And they're like, well, we'll drive you. And like I said, it's bar close. It was very cold. I did not want to walk. It was a little too far to walk. I didn't want to wait for like an Uber or something like that, which Uber probably wasn't even a thing back then. This was a long time ago, but
and the cabs in Fargo have always sucked
bad
at bar close.
And at bar close we'd be waiting forever, and you know, up until that point there was no perceived danger, other than the fact that, you know, maybe it's not always the best idea to get into cars with strangers. But anyways, that's beside the point. So we're like, yeah, we'll accept a ride. This seems nice. They're going to just take us back. We'll get back to her apartment. Everything will be good. I wasn't familiar enough with like some of the streets and like my surroundings to realize that they were driving us in a different direction than my sister's apartment until we got to their apartment. And I was very annoyed because of just like no, I told you to go to my sister. Like, I was like, oh yeah, it's like across from this place or whatever. And they're like, oh yeah. And then they just made that decision to like bring us to their apartment. And I was so
That's fucked up.
Annoyed. And kind of similar to this movie a little bit too, is like, I don't want to make her feel bad in any way, but my friend was like, well, we're already here, I guess we might as well, should we just like go in for one more drink? Because they're like, yeah, just come in for one more drink. I'm like, well, I'd rather just go home or like go back to my sister's and go to bed, because now it's like 2:30 in the morning. And also I'm pissed. I'm so pissed right now. She's like, no, come on, we're having fun, let's just go in and just like have one more drink. So me, foolishly, going inside, I'm like, fine, one more. So we go inside, and, you know, we're fine. We're just listening to some music and stuff. And I'm like, okay, got any time now, we can go. And then it kind of subtly became apparent that the expectation is that we were both going to, like, stay the night there at their apartment, like, in their rooms. And I was like, okay, now I'm so pissed because not only did you completely disregard where you said you were going to take us, now you're completely just like disregarding any decision that we want to make. And so I'm like, no, I gotta go. I'm leaving. I'm just leaving. I'll walk. I don't give a fuck. I'm out of here. And I was like talking to my friend. I'm like, hey, we gotta go. This is stupid. And she's like, I kind of want to stay. Like, oh, okay. And I'd like to preface that, yes, we had had some drinks, but neither one of us were in a state where like we couldn't make decisions on our own. And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay. I'm like vibing with this dude. I'm like, are you sure you want to stay? And she's like, yeah, I'm good. You can go. Like, I don't feel good about leaving you here, but this is what you want. Okay. I was like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm like, okay, totally your decision. So I go outside. I call my sister. It's like 3 a.m. And she's pissed because if anyone knows my sister, if you call her in the middle of the night for something, she's mad. She's not happy. Yeah. And I like kind of just tell her, I'm like, I need a ride. I'm at this like random guy's apartment that I don't want to be at in the first place. Like, please come get me. She's like, where are you? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know where I am. GPS on phones like is not really a thing at that point. I'm like, I think I can see Concordia. She's like, oh my God. Okay. You're so far away from me right now. I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. She's like, where's our friend? And I was like, she's gonna stay. And she's like, okay. I'm like, yeah, whatever, you know. And you know what, like, whatever, girl, that's your decision. And I don't care. I've gone home with guys from the bar, but the point is, it was my decision. And the fact that you drove us to your apartment and then expected us to come in and have a drink and be fine with that, and then expected us to like kind of stay, I was so mad. And I like haven't thought about that in years, but I thought about that watching this movie.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people will be like, oh, that's such an extreme way to look at it, but there's a word for that, and it's kidnapping.
Yeah, basically kidnapped us. And then, you know, the next morning, my friend came back to the apartment early, and she's like, no, I had a good night. It was fine. Everything was fine. Like,
right?
Yeah.
That's fine.
But it would have been
Jesus
more fine.
Christ.
It would have been so much more fine if we were at the bar and she was like, hey, I'm going to go with this guy. Like, her choice to go to his apartment. The fact that they just drove us there when they said they were going to take me to my sister's was maddening.
And again, like, I don't say this because I'm fully willing and able to admit that I have done some shit that I thought was harmless and as it turns out was not. But also, there is a level of thing that to me is just like, wait, you did what? Like, they asked you to take them home, and you said, sure, I will take you home. And they got in your car, and you just took them back to your house?
Yeah.
Like, there's a part of that that's just like, I would never have the fucking audacity. Just like, what the fuck? Man,
It's kind of wild. I was telling
that's fucked up to do to literally anybody at all. Not let alone a drunk person from the bar at 2:00 in the morning. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I haven't thought about that.
Obviously fucked up, right?
Yeah, but you know what's crazy is in the moment, like, I was mad, but now, like, thinking back on it, I was like, that is fucked up. Like, and, you know, we ended up being fine, and it...
And again, yeah.
But...
Thank God.
But still. But, like...
The circumstance of it is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And
actually...
The interesting part to me is also, like, I know a lot of those stories, and I understand them, and it is... But still, to this day, because I don't have that threat in my life, I still hear that kind of story, and I'm just like, what the fuck were you thinking getting in that car? And that's a terrible thing to think. It's terrible. It's the wrong thing. But what I think is I am just like, I'm fucking too fucking neurotic. I could just never, I would be so insanely uncomfortable in a car with a stranger. And it's just like, I would just, like Michelle and I have talked about some of these movies where like a movie like Speak No Evil, if you've seen it, I know you have.
Oh,
have you not?
Yeah. Yeah, I have. That situation would never happen to me because I would never go to this stranger's house. Stay at some stranger's house and like things are weird.
Right. I could even see myself going to their house, but the instant shit got weird, I'm the fuck out of there. Right?
Yeah.
I am fucking gone. Are you kidding me? How the fuck did you... And again, do not blame victims. It doesn't matter. At some point, everything is the responsibility of the attacker.
Yeah,
but
Speak No Evil is kind of a different situation because there was some really fucked up stuff going on. Where I'm like, yes. No, you're two full-grown adults. Just leave. You could just leave. Yeah. And you know what? That's advice for anybody. You could just leave. Actually, I think one of the last times that I told this story, I don't remember. It was like me and my sister and like a couple of our guy friends were talking about it. And I don't know what the topic was. And my sister's like, well, yeah, remember that time that those two guys like were going to give you a name of friend ride home from the bar. And then they just like drove you to their apartment and didn't even tell you that that's what they were doing. And my one friend was like, excuse me? Like, what? And I'm like, yeah, that happened. And he was like asking questions and like, oh, you don't really seem that like you don't, like, I wasn't making it seem like a big deal because, again, kind of going back to that, like, yeah, it's fucking wild, but it's also like, all right, kind of a little more normalized. And even when I started telling that story and I was like, yeah, so I'm trying to like, I was trying to explain why I would get into a stranger's car. And I was trying to like be like, I know I was so stupid. Why would I get into a stranger's car? And I'm like, but at the same time, if somebody who seems like they're a decent human being says, oh, hey, we'll just give you guys a ride. Is that on me?
No, but also, and that was something I wanted to bring up is, because I want to make sure I bring this full circle, is like, so that was the way I always look at things. And then somebody explains to me or opens my eyes to the thing that I should have fucking seen and understood is the reason they do that is because they have no good outs in that situation, right? Like, if I am a dude and I suddenly find myself at bar close and I forgot to arrange a ride and maybe somebody offers me a ride and I take it, the threat to me is overall kind of minimal unless that person happens to be a psychopath serial killer, right? Or if I choose not to take that ride and I end up having to stand half drunk outside of a bar until 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning waiting for a cab, I'm probably going to be fine. But for you, like, there are no good options there. So it's like, you know, what do you do? And that's why you can't hold, because, again, it's, I didn't have this context for so long, and I'm grateful that people have taken the time and patience to give it to me.
Yeah,
it's
and
fucked up. It's like that's why they do it, is because we don't give them any good fucking options.
Yeah, and I don't know. Even if I had options and that was the one that I chose, like, yeah, I guess, you know, we're all told as children, like, don't get in cars with strangers, don't take candy from strangers, but somebody who seems like a decent human is like, I'm just gonna give you a ride home. Like,
right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to see
God
a
forbid you
perceived.
trust a person.
Yeah, God forbid somebody just be a nice person and give you a ride. But okay, but on the flip side, I probably a couple years ago now, I was doing some solo traveling and I was in Nashville. I was at this cute little craft beer place and it just happened to be trivia night. And I joined, like, there was a bunch of random people that didn't know each other at the bar who were like, well, should we just, like, be a trivia team? And we got to chatting. And clearly my nasally Midwest accent gave me away that I'm not from Nashville. So we got to talking and there was this like older woman in our group and she's like, oh, you've never been here before? I'm like, no, I'm actually just here on like a day layover, whatever. She's like, oh, you gotta see this and you gotta see that. She's like, after trivia, do you want me to just like drive you around the city? And I was like, yeah. So I went with Carol. Carol drove me all around Nashville and showed me all these incredible things that she, was really excited for me to see. And yeah, another, got in a car with a stranger. But you know what the difference was is that, like, I don't know. That's kind of fucked up too. Now that I think about it, I'm like, oh, I didn't see any perceived danger there. But
well, no, and that's the thing is, no, it's not, because I think the point we're kind of getting at back and forth here, and I do, again, by this episode took a completely different direction than I thought it was going to, but I
got a lot more
love
heavy
it,
at the end
No,
here, but that's all right. Maybe this is the whole point of the movie, is to have these discussions.
I mean, because like I said, it all starts with that idea of like what is the code here, because I don't have the context, because I'm very mostly dude, 100% male presenting, right? Like I don't have that context. But I think ultimately what we're saying is, at the end of the day, there's no justification needed at all, because the fault always lies 100% with the assaulter. But also, yeah, if you do want to take a step and break it down, it's like, fucking, what good options do you really have, right? You're gonna be it is the nature of female presenting in the world that you are threatened at all times. And that's fucked up. It's just really, really fucked up.
This movie also touched on like another kind of ingrained thing maybe too, is like people not believing you.
Yeah.
Like even her own friends were like, well, nobody saw it happen, and the cops were like, whatever, everyone just completely dismisses anything that she has to say. They're like, girl, you're crazy.
Which of course is a why she probably didn't bother to say anything in the first place, right?
Yeah, and also her friends are the fucking worst, so they weren't going to do anything anyway.
We don't know that yet, but she does, right? When you look at it from a character perspective, she's like, they're all just going to be like, well, you're the one who started making out with him, and, this, that, and the other. Like, what really happened? Don't harsh our vibe. Wait, God damn it. Like, that whole, like, hey, knock it off, you're ruining the party thing was just so fucking frustrating.
Yeah, that was wild. I was trying to think of any situation where my friend is having some sort of bad experience. It doesn't really matter what it is. She's clearly in a lot of distress. She's like, please, we have to leave. And I'm like, you're kind of ruining the vibe.
Right?
Like, I'm just here to party and have a good time.
Maybe get that dick. God, did I just do that? No.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, so to get away from some of the heaviness, then I do want to talk briefly about the part of this that I feel like this is kind of like two movies, and if it was two movies, this whole thing, it's something we've definitely seen before, but just like, I feel like if this had been a little bit more straightforward, some girls go out, because you could even incorporate some of the sexual assault implication in things, maybe not to the same degree and in the same way, but just going off into the not so much the backwoods, but in metaphorically speaking, out into the backwoods, and like I swear to God, I was expecting when the psycho neighbor, the cranky ass neighbor, showed up with that shotgun. Like, I thought it was going to be a double cross, and he was like going to be the dad or whatever of these other dudes, and he's like the ringleader of the whole thing. And then the fact, so I was also just fucking a little disappointed that he shows up with a shotgun to play hero, and he's just dead. Right?
Was that old man neighbor's character just to like help emphasize that they hate people partying in their town?
I guess,
because that's really the whole basis behind why these guys in the truck, I hate them, is because they hate people. Locals hate people coming and partying in the desert.
Whole thing was going to tie together, right? I thought they were building this thing, and so like when it turns out that he's just another. If that's even what you were going to do, why did we reinforce that conflict? Why didn't we have the one scene where we introduce it and then we just kind of forget it? It would have had way more impact when he came back, right? But they have 2 interactions with him before he has that attempted hero moment, and that, to me, reinforces the idea of make sure you understand that this guy really doesn't like them. So when he shows up and seems like he's gonna be the hero, he's actually the big bad of all the bads. And it didn't play that way. And I'm not saying it
went nowhere.
I'm just saying I would have enjoyed that story better.
Yeah, I would have liked that. I don't know what would have happened after that necessarily, but I like that angle of it. Or I would have liked that he showed up and like, not that like the girls need saving, but he showed up as like reinforcements more. Like, no, these 2 fucking creeps, unacceptable.
Or I think it's that aggressive. Like, maybe if instead you had the character be like not so aggressive, but just like, hey, come on, guys, can you keep the fucking music down, please?
Yeah, he shows up and is immediately like, you privileged bitches, just turn your music down. He calls them a C word a bunch of times and leaves.
Maybe he hears the one dude, the gun goes off, right? And so he's like, oh my God, not only is the music loud, but now there's guns going. And so he comes running out there. He's got a gun in a lockbox that hasn't even been opened in 12 years since he bought the damn thing, because he just bought it out of paranoia, and now he's having a fucking diehard John McClane fantasy of going down there with his gun to be the hero, and he just gets fucking blasted coming through the door. I guess what I'm saying is I feel like the way that character was presented, the spin of him being a hero and then immediately dying, or an attempted hero, I don't know, it feels like smoke and mirrors to a certain degree.
Yeah, I don't know, it was just so anticlimactic that I'm like, why is this guy even here then? Why is this even part of the movie?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just took such a sharp turn at the end there, and like with really not a lot of setup. They're like, we're on our own. We got to go rogue, and let's just go 100% off the rails and torture these guys. I'm like, Jesus, like what? Like 2 hours ago, you were doing Molly in the desert and being like, oh my God, and now you're like, no, we got to do this for our friends. For our friends that we hate, that we kind of hate. They don't even like each other. They don't act like they like each other. So I want to be clear.
Each other.
I want to be clear that my main criticisms of this movie are just like, the characters are so unlikable to the viewer, but more than anything, it's like they're unlikable towards each other. Like, they're just awful friends, and the only thing that really bonds them is just like wanting to party, which is fine. We've all had party friends or bar friends or whatever, but I don't know. I just don't know what I'm supposed to like take away from this movie, and I don't know. I felt like I was missing something. I'm like, is this movie like more clever than I'm giving it credit for? I would love to hear like some opposing views, because I tried to find like some other reviews to like read, like, you know, some really great reviews, and I didn't really find anything. But I would love to hear some other, you know, some other things. A couple of things that I'll say some things that I did like. I kind of liked the party scenes. I liked the way they were shot. They were kind of disorientating. They felt very, it kind of felt like you were at this warehouse party. Like I said, I'm not going to lie. I want to go to a desert warehouse party. So I felt like those shots were kind of cool. I didn't really like, the editing was kind of wild in this, but there were some interesting shots, and there was a couple EDM tracks in the song that I liked. Not the one in the end credits. There were a couple in the middle that I enjoy. That was a wild song.
Okay, so you
a quick thing is that I'm so mad that on the sound, if there's a soundtrack to this, it's going to be that song, but also with absolute bangers like "Losing It" by Fisher.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, this movie did do one thing that is an insane pet peeve of mine, which is they go out in the desert and they eat those mushroom chocolates, and then she full-scale hallucinates people in the desert who aren't there chasing after her and screaming at her. These people have never taken mushrooms before.
Yeah, that's not how mushrooms work.
That's not how any hallucinogens work, to the best of my... Not even the real heavy shit, right? Like, it's... I guess maybe DMT occasionally would do some fucked up shit. But, yeah, it's just... like that. And so that was the personal gripe about this movie that just kind of made me cranky.
If you had to pick your favorite, like something that you liked out of this movie...
I thought in those last 10 minutes when it finally like got aggressive, I thought it did really well in bringing the heat, which is what made me then, because like I'm not against that sort of like, oh, the hillbillies in the middle of nowhere are being terrible to some women on vacation kind of trope. But it was that last section where how severe it got that made... I wasn't totally into that part of it here, but that made me think, oh man, I feel like they could have expanded that side of this, and gotten a certain type of movie that I personally would have really, at least possibly enjoyed more. Again, that's just because it's my fucking taste. Right? But yeah, if there was one thing about this movie that I really fucking loved, I love some dick trauma. I especially love some graphic dick trauma.
Yeah, they show it. They
it's something that has been happening more graphically in horror for a good 10-15 years now, and I love it because we fucking deserve it.
Yeah. You know what? Surprisingly, this movie, like, no titties.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No nudity. And all the sexuality is mostly assaulty, but none of it is graphic whatsoever. Right? There's no graphic, intense sexuality or nudity of any kind.
No, and that's, I thought for sure, just kind of how this movie started off and just like the way that these characters are. I was like, oh, this is gonna like just really piss me off, the way that they show a lot of these things and just be overly graphic just to be shocking, because I feel like a lot of the dialogue and some of the situations were in here to be shocking. The dialogue for sure, because I have a hard time believing that there are a group of 5 people anywhere that all talk the way that this friend group does. Because it's non-stop, and it's just like the line delivery is so bad. So maybe this is kind of a little bit of a hot take, but I didn't know who the director was until after I watched it, and it was kind of giving me like a men writing women vibes. And so I was shocked, or a little surprised that the writer and director was this Isabel Paxad. So then I looked up to see like what else they had done, and yeah, I did see the Birds of Prey as an actor in that.
She's apparently
and then,
done a decent amount of small part acting.
Yeah, and then I was like, I'm not familiar with anything else. But what I also stumbled across, which I think is interesting in this context, is that apparently she's been dating James Franco since 2017. Which adds a very interesting new layer to the topics covered in this film.
Jenna,
for anybody who's not aware, he has been accused by several different women of being very sexually inappropriate, and he's kind of fallen out of the public after his settlements that he made with them.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the more openly known problematic situations so far as like celebrity kind of situations. So man, did you know that before we started recording this episode and not tell me?
I did.
I'll be honest. If it's good that you did, because I'm glad we got to do this episode, because it did turn into, I think, and I hope you do too, a solid discussion on some shit that's really worth talking about when you get an opportunity. But if you had told me that before we started recording, I might not have done this episode.
Yeah. Also, before we even started recording, I was like, I have something kind of wild to tell you about this movie. But I'll tell you.
Oh, you did say that, yes.
And that was the little key piece that I was holding on to, because I didn't want it to cloud anything. And to be fair, I had all of these thoughts about the movie before I realized that. I just thought it added a very interesting new layer to this.
I guess that's
and also,
another thing that I'd like to say. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it was also like, I was also kind of taken aback because after this movie got done and then that Wild song was playing in the credits, I was like, this movie kind of reminded me of Spring Breakers.
Pussy. I'm sorry. Yeah. Every time you reference the song, I'm just going to start saying pussy a bunch.
But yeah, I was like, this movie kind of reminds me of Spring Breakers a little bit, which
I
also,
have
if you're
never
not...
seen.
Well, James Franco is like one of the main characters in that movie.
So I've heard. And look, I want to be clear. Also, because I myself have been given an incredible amount of grace in situations. Like I don't mean in any way to suggest that somebody is not capable of making amends and changing. Yes. What I am saying is that as of right now, it seems like what happened is a whole lot of money exchanged hands to and I don't say this in any way disparaging to the people who got it, because whatever you can get to make your life better out of this shitty situation, whatever. But it doesn't seem like the kind of situation where there's been and I think because it happens so publicly, unfortunately, if you want your career to continue to, like, there has to be a certain amount of public contrition, and we haven't really gotten that so far as I can tell. So,
Yeah.
that's ultimately kind of the part that took me a long time to get to that point. I do that a lot.
And for our listeners too, if you're still here with us, hopefully,
Hour and 37 minutes into the episode.
Yeah, it got a lot more heavy towards the end here, but I think these things are important to talk about because we've all done things that in hindsight now you can be like, oh wow, I can't believe I did that or said that, and without realizing how it could come across to somebody, or how it can be perceived. And then, you realize that and you're like, oh, I see this from their perspective now, and I'm going to just try to be better going forward. So, if, hearing some of these things, and then, thinking about some of the actions that you've done, you don't need to, punish yourself for it, but be like, oh, wow, like, oh yeah, that makes sense from this other perspective. I'm just gonna try and be better.
Yeah, and look, I gotta tell you guys, because a lot of it's another element of the whole toxic. Look, now I'm starting to get self-conscious like I do, and be like, everybody's gonna be like, oh, JD is like super like, oh, white knight dude crusader, but fucking I don't give a shit. All the important people in my life are women, but not all of them. There are non-women in my life who are important, but just as a person, not even in this sphere, in a lot of spheres, being a person who has fucked up a lot in life and will no doubt continue to fuck up a lot in life, I can assure you with absolute certainty that it is way fucking easier if you just take accountability for your fuck-ups. Right? Fucking, you need to recognize your own fallibility and understand that, yes, in fact, maybe you did make a mistake. Because it's, I don't know, it's refusing. I think it's a lot of the issue starts there, and it goes snowballing. It's like, look, man, just be open to the idea that you fucked up. It's so much easier, right? It's a better
we
life.
all fuck up. Everybody fucks up. Everyone fucks up. And, you learn from it and you grow from it because that's how we evolve as people. That's it.
Just,
everyone should just be super chill towards each other and just have good vibes.
Right, man. To put a nice little bow on it, fucking leave women alone.
And stop touching people.
Yeah, it's fucking don't touch people without explicit consent.
Remember when we're kids and they're like, hands to yourself, like,
yeah, and
that's it.
If somebody says no, fucking stop. I don't know. It's frustrating. Anyway, I don't even know.
I'm glad that we solved misogyny in this episode.
Yeah, obviously, and I'm glad that that I'm a hero and that it's a legitimate thing because you're here to validate my heroism by being the token female. So yeah, we have saved the world, you and me, Jenna.
Yeah, I will say though that when I was making some notes on this, I'm like, am I a bad feminist? This movie's making me feel bad. But again, my criticisms are not the content itself. It's the way that it's handled, the way it's portrayed. These characters are so unbelievable. The dialogue is just awful. And that's honestly one of my biggest pet peeves in movies is this nobody actually talks like that. Like, come on. Like, this is so grating and just so outlandish that it's like, these people are not real people. Like, the main character, Amber, was probably the standout actor in this film by far, and because she at least had like some reactions and some emotions that felt like a normal person, the rest of her friends, like, all this horrific stuff is happening, or like she's telling them about things and they're just like, what? Like, why are you doing that? Why are you ruining the party? Like, they're just and the dialogue just feels so forced and scripted. It's just so bizarre. I can't quite figure it out, but I was like, oh man, this is something. Yeah.
Well, this is actually proving to be the longest one of these we've done so far by a significant number of minutes. So, yeah, I do want to. Here's what I'm going to say about a score, because the way I established my skull rating is it's entirely based, or it's not an evaluation of the movie and its quote unquote quality in any way, shape, or form. It's simply a rating of how much I enjoyed the film, and because I do very much appreciate that it gave us an opportunity to talk about a lot of stuff and have some meaningful conversation, this one is going to get the 2 skull. It's a movie that didn't really work for me and wasn't really my vibe, but I have nothing explicitly negative to say about it, unless you consider these characters were like deathly unlikable to be a severe criticism. I just think it's a statement of what was going on. 2 skulls.
Yeah, I'm also gonna go with a 2 skull rating.
Yay!
And I'm sure there's
2 skulls. That's how
it
works.
Yay! And I'm sure there's plenty of people that probably like this movie. And I think it got more. Well, I think it was released on other places other than Shudder too.
As of right now, here's what I can tell you. On RottenTomatoes.com, on the tomato meter, it currently has a 48%, which is the green splat. On IMDb, that Rotten Tomatoes is out of 25 reviews, a 48%. On IMDb, out of 299 ratings, it is a 4.1 out of 10. Okay. And currently on Shudder, its aggregate rating is 3 out of 5 skulls.
Okay.
There you go. Well, that's our podcast. Let's all go away. No, here's the thing that I used to do sometimes that I do want to do, as long as I'm sitting right here in front of the screen here. I'm gonna see if I can find a very positive review from somebody who enjoyed it. That says like this one just says, "I really enjoyed that. Amazing cast." I'm looking to see if there's something with some.
I found a couple like that too, but I'm like, I want to hear like some actual like kind of bullet point things.
Yeah, there's all of the super positive ones on here, and there are quite a few 5 skull ratings. Don't get me wrong. Like looking at it here, there's like I would say at least 35% of the ones that are visible right now are 5 skull ratings. So there are definitely people who really enjoyed this. But they're all just very simple reviews. Nobody going into some real commentary.
Also,
which honestly, I'm not surprised. It's always the people with a fucking axe to grind that are going to bitch for a while.
Right? Like this episode for most of it. I don't know. Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes it's fun to just kind of rant on stuff.
That's all it is. It's just honesty. I don't think there's anything we said that was mean in any way.
No, and like I said, these are just like our opinions, man. So if
that's what I'm not a critic. I'm just some fucking dude who has the ego to record his fucking opinions and put them out into the world like anybody gives a shit.
Yeah, I just want people to hear all my opinions that I have. And I have a lot of them. I have opinions on most things in general. But one quick thing that I was just thinking about too is, at the movie ends with the 3 survivors driving through the desert. Like the sun is like just starting. It's like dusk. And they're like screaming and laughing, I guess, because they made it through that situation and 2 of their friends are dead. And the blonde one and the other one. And, but like, okay, so I'm just trying to like walk through like what happens. Like, okay, so that's where the movie ends. But then like, whoever owns this Airbnb is gonna like show up in like a couple days, like at the checkout date and be like, oh, showing up to clean. And there's a dude tied to a pool table with his dick cut off with a pair of scissors, shattered glass, and like it's destruction everywhere. A guy with a bullet wound to his head. Another Jenna. Guy who's had his face smashed in with a pool ball. And they're probably going to prison.
Jenna, the guy from the cranky neighbor with the shotgun has a family. They're finding those corpses fucking tonight.
Oh, God.
Like, the cops are finding this massacre immediately. They aren't getting out of the fucking state or wherever they're going. They are fucked.
There are 3 dead bodies in this rental.
Completely fucked. And they shouldn't be. Don't get me wrong. Fuck those guys. They fucking deserve to die.
Oh yeah, but just realistically, I love. I love to do.
Also, to be fair, none of them
like,
died until they introduced the guns.
Yeah, that's true. But it was just.
I'm sorry, I talked over you. What were you saying?
No, it's just kind of fun sometimes to be like, wait a second, but then what happens after that we don't see? It's like. They're going to prison because there's nothing, because they can't just be like, oh yeah, that happened and then we didn't call the police, we just like drove away.
Right.
Also, we didn't call the police after the truck flipped over because we decided we're gonna go rogue and do our own interrogation detective work.
Let me tell you, when your reason is we had no reason to believe you would believe us and help us, that's not gonna do you any good.
That's not gonna hold up.
It's also probably gonna make them even more angry because now you're talking shit about them. Which, I mean, by all means, talk shit about the cops because fuck them. But it's not gonna go your way. Is all I'm saying.
Unless
they are so fucked. Maybe that's why they start screaming and laughing. Maybe they're all just like, oh God,
everything's fucked.
we are going to prison, but we might get. What state are we in? We might get executed. We're fucked.
Okay, hear me out though. So they end up going to trial with that as their defense, and the jury of their peers is like literally their peers, and. So it's just like a bunch of party girls in the jury box, and they're like, I don't see the big deal. Like, sorry, your friends were gone.
I scared the shit out of my dog with that big laugh. Sorry, Riley. Oh, man. That's fucking genius.
Just a
crossover
jury
with Reese Witherspoon, the legally blonde lawyer.
Just a jury of Vocal Fry Valley girls, who all they do is just party and on yachts. And they're like, oh my God, like, ew.
Don't give them any sequel ideas.
I know. I would watch that. I'd be more excited to watch that.
All right. Well, this podcast is now 20 minutes longer than the movie was. So again, I do want to thank the movie for giving us an opportunity to talk about some heavy shit. Hope you found some value in it, and maybe some people listening get some shit to think about. But I don't want to talk about this movie anymore, and also I'm gonna have to pee. So, what's the movie next week? Do we?
I have no idea.
I think, is it Forbidden Fruit? No, it's.
I'm excited for that one though.
That one is 2 weeks away. It's something. It's The Words of Our Mother, I believe, is what it's called. Something to that effect. I just
okay. I don't know anything about that one, but I am looking forward to watching Forbidden Fruits.
Yeah, for sure. I've been looking forward to that. I wanted to see it in the theater. I didn't get a chance. The Voices of Our Mother is what it's called.
Okay. What's the description on that one?
Do you really want me to read it to you, or do you want to go in blind?
No, let's. I want to have a hint of what it is.
It says, when a family matriarch falls seriously ill, relatives gather and discover their shared ancestral ties bind them in unexpected ways.
All right.
The Voices of Our Mother.
Okay.
TVMA for Language and Violence.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's Find Your Friends. Oh, also, the movie is called Find Your Friends because, like, right at the end, just briefly, they talk about trying to locate the missing friend using an app called Find Your Friends, and I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, I didn't like the title of this either.
All right, the dog's getting carried away. He needs to go potty again. I don't really have anything else to say here. Do you have anything else to say here, Jenna?
No, I think I pretty much said everything I can
well,
think
there's just one thing left then. Say goodnight, Jenna.
Good night, Jenna.
We're going to stop. And hammer time.